Hello.
Hi, Mape. How's it going?
Good.
Did I pronounce that correctly? Mape?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hi, Emma.
Doing
How's it going?
good. Good.
Good, good. Perfect. And Mape, quick question. Do you have NVDev installed locally, or do you have like Anaconda?
I have Anaconda.
Anaconda?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you on a Windows or a Mac?
Mac.
Okay. Would you mind installing NVDev? So we're going to be working locally today and not on Google Colab. And so if you want to kind of work together with us, a quick install of NVDev would be great.
Okay, I'll try.
Pip install NVDev. Might be
Okay.
install upgrade NVDev. Hi. All right, let's see.
Oops.
Watching my phone at 2 different times. So I think it's 102 maybe. Okay. And then
Yes.
just if it's good. Oh, we have some more. And then quick thumbs up right now. If you have NVDev installed already locally, quick thumbs up. Thumbs up, anyone else? Okay. Brenton, okay. And then quick thumbs up if you have Anaconda installed. Looks like some people, okay, that's interesting.
So Aaron, I'm assuming that's I think I might, but it might not be correct.
I think I might have it installed, but I'm not sure. I remember using it at one point, but I remember trying again and it didn't work, so I might need to reinstall it.
Just trying to think about what to do so that we could potentially all work together. So today in our workshop, we're going to be working locally. So this is definitely possible on Google Colab. It just takes a little bit more authentication than what we kind of want to get into. We don't want to obscure the work that we're trying to do with the challenges of trying to do authentication. So we're going to try to work locally. If you have Anaconda, you can open up a terminal and just type what Mafe wrote there, which is pip install NVDev. So if on Mac, you can open a terminal and do that. On Windows, you'll need to open up Anaconda prompt and do that. Let me see, I think we have, it's 104. Would anyone like to give that a try right quick just before we jump in? Put up a green check if you think that you'd like to have a second to see if you can install that before we get started. But you'll pretty much need to have Anaconda already installed or pip already installed. So green check or thumbs up. Okay, that's no problem whatsoever. We will just jump right on in. Okay, so as you guys know, because you guys are clearly here at the workshop, we're going to be talking about GitHub Flow today, but specifically with Jupyter Notebooks. And so as we talked about before, the thing with Jupyter Notebooks is just that it is JSON. So when you try to edit like a particular cell, there's a lot around that. When you're collaborating with other people, that can result in merge conflicts. And so today we're going to talk about some ways that we can resolve those using NVDev. Okay, so stick in there with me. Again, you can unmute and like answer questions, or you can just drop them in the chat. Don't feel like you have to be right. I've gotten lots of things wrong in my life. I've probably gotten lots of things wrong on this very day, and it hasn't even been that long of a day. So feel free to say whatever you need to say in the chat. It's totally okay. Okay, and Preston is going to be my partner today. We are going to collaborate on a repo together. And let's see. So let me see. How many of us are there? There's trying to decide whether we should go ahead and exchange GitHub user IDs. Jesse, what are your thoughts? Should we try to do that, or should we just kind of?
I would say work through it,
Okay.
and we'll see how much time is.
That sounds good. I think that sounds like a good plan.
Okay, all right. It does sound good. All right.
Okay, so let me share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Here we go. So we're sharing the screen. We are going to go to the NBDev playground that we were on yesterday. So mine's shared here, but I'm just going to copy it and put it into the chat. Okay. Oh, chat. Gonna control V that. And so we've done something a little bit special today, is that we've made this into a template. And a template means that you can use this to create your own repository from it. So that is precisely what we're going to do. We're going to use this template. We're going to click this button. And that is going to allow us to, create a template. And Preston, if you wouldn't mind, please put yours in the Vanderbilt Data Science, but I'm just going to go ahead and put mine right under my own username. So let's see how we can do this. Let's see. So we're just going to choose a new name. I'm going to call mine NBDev demo. And I am going to put a description, demo of collaborating with Jupyter Notebooks. Okay. And then we're going to leave this to be public. And we're not going to include all branches, but we are going to create a repository from this template. Okay, so we're going to create that. Things are looking good. Generating the repository from NBDev Playground, as it says here. So this is my new repository called NBDev Demo, generated from our template repository. So now, if you happen to know someone's GitHub user ID, you can just add them to your project. But Preston is going to actually add me to his project. So the way that he's going to do that is he's going to actually go to settings over here. He's going to go to manage access. And then he's going to big green button, click it. And he's going to add my username, which is csbell-bu. And it has no idea what we're talking about because this is me. But when Preston does it, he should be able to add me. So Preston, if you wouldn't mind, share your screen, and then we can just see that being done or where you are in that process.
Oh, well.
Is it done?
It is done, yeah.
Okay, well, you can just send me the link to it, and I will add myself. And note that sometimes if it's a public repo, people can send you the link to the repo, but the accept invite doesn't show up for whatever reason. So you might actually have to go jump into your email and click accept. All right, so it looks like it's been added. So let me just share my screen again. Oops, that's the wrong screen. I'm going to share it again. And this is going to be the repo that Preston has shared with me. So I'm just going to click on that to open it. Okay, so now Preston has added me, and now we're going to start working together on this repo. Okay, so let's see what that's like. And just so you know, in the original NBDev Playground repository, so this one, there are instructions on what we're about to do in the README under day 2. And if you're just joining us today and you didn't get to day 1, so yesterday, you can go through these and learn a little bit more about Google Colab. But otherwise, we're going to be doing this in workshop activity of resolving merge conflicts. So I am just going to ease this on over. Oh, nope. I'm going to ease this on over to this side of the screen. Ease this one over to this side of the screen, and then we're going to hope for the best here. That did not work the way I wanted it to. That's all right. Okay. So now let's see what the instructions say. So Preston is actually going to be person 1, and I'm going to be person 2. And as we can see here, Preston already added me as a collaborator on his GitHub repo. So now I don't know if Preston has one locally, but if he doesn't, he can go ahead and clone his repo to his location of interest. And I will also clone the same repo because we're working together. So let me show you how I can do that. And Preston will also be doing this on his computer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my Anaconda prompt, or actually I'm going to go to search. I'm going to type in Anaconda. Here's the Anaconda navigator, but I'm specifically going to open up this Anaconda prompt. Here you can see this is where we are. I'm actually going to CD to another directory. So I'm going to go into my documents. So I'm going to change directory into documents. And then I'm actually going to clone there. So I'm going to do git clone. And then whoops, what am I going to clone? I need to come back to the repo and copy the link. So I go to code. I click this clipboard. And that copies it to my computer's clipboard. It even says so. And then I come back to my terminal or my Anaconda prompt, because Anaconda prompt has a few more initialization things than a regular command prompt. And I type maybe Control-V, Control-V. So now we can see that I'm git cloning and I'm cloning Preston's repo. Now I'm going to click enter. We can see that it is cloned. And now I am going to enter that repository. So it's called nbdev demo DSI, cd nbdev. And I'm just going to click tab so it will autocomplete. Then, so it depends where you've installed your nbdev. So for me right now, this is my base environment. And that's not where I have nbdev installed. So this is a Conda environment. I have mine installed somewhere else just so I can keep it kind of localized into that specific environment. So if you have a similar situation, you can type something similar to what I type and put in your environment name. But otherwise, if you pip install directly into base or conda install directly into base, you can just continue forth with base. So again, I'm going to activate the environment where my nbdev is active. So conda activate. And one of my environments is going to be called DL transformer. And now I'm going to start Jupyter Lab so it knows all of the packages that I'm trying to have it use. So to do that, all I'm going to do is just type Jupyter Lab. And now it's going to start a little kernel in the background, a little server, and it's going to start Jupyter Lab. So let's bring this up to the front. So we're still just starting a little bit. All right, so far, Preston has added me as a collaborator and we've both cloned the repo. So person 1 and person 2 have cloned the repo. And this says in Google Colab, but not so much. So we're just going to give that a second to load. This is actually, yes, so this is what we're looking for. I'm just going to close this one right quick because that's not how it tends to open. Okay, so this is how this one has opened. Okay, so we can see that we're in nbdev demo DSI. These are all the documents if you were here yesterday. These are all the things that we worked on yesterday, and now we're able to use them. So now let's see, there is something that we know that we always have to do, which is the nbdev install Git Hooks. But there's actually something that we might want to do before that. So let us consider. So we decide as a group, we don't want to work on main and we want to use GitHub Flow. What is that first thing that we do again whenever we want to use GitHub Flow and we don't want to work on main? What do we do? We create a new branch. Thank you. All right, so let's see how we can do that. Well, actually, we're just going to skip a little part where you open a different type of terminal. We're just going to use the terminal that's provided right through Jupyter Notebooks or just through Jupyter Lab. The way that we can do that is just to click this plus right here. We're going to open a terminal. You can see it here. And we're going to let that help us. And in the meantime, I'm just going to get rid of, no, I'll leave it there. So here you can see we opened up a PowerShell, which is the same, literally the same thing we had before. It's just that here we're back now in base. Again, we need to make sure that we're in the right environment for NB dev stuff. So I'm just going to activate that environment again. So con to activate, what is it? DL transformer. So now the terminal is also in the right virtual environment with NBDev. And here we know that we're in the right repo. Okay, so someone said the first thing that we need to do is create a new branch. And so we're actually going to do that using the command line. And what we're going to do that is just first what we're going to do is we're going to do Git Status. Since we don't know what's going on and it tells us what our status is, it says, hey, you're on branch master and you're up to date with the current state of the repo as reflected by your repo. Okay, so now what we're going to do is now that we're on branch master, we're going to create a new branch. And that is, does anybody remember what the command is or what the important word is to create a new branch with the command line? I know it's a hard thing to remember if you're new to it. Ooh, good, checkout. So we are going to get checkout. And checkout means that actually you start working on something, but since we don't have something to start working on, we need to create that something. So that's going to be -B. So that means we're going to check out a new branch and we're just going to name it. So I am person, what am I again? I'm person 2. Preston is person 1. And so Preston is going to create a branch called file int. And I'm going to create a branch called fix file int because we have not talked to each other and now we're doing the same thing. So, okay, so Preston here is going to type git checkout -B file int. I'm going to do git checkout -B fix file int. So fix file int. All right, thank you, Git. It tells us, hey, you switched to a new branch called fix file int. Preston's would tell him that he switched to a new branch called file int. So now, of course, because I remember nothing, I get status and it says, hey, things are looking good. So now what? So we said yesterday, we got on Google Colab, we said that there are the first time you create your repository, just the first time after you've cloned it for the first time, or after you've cloned it, you need to run a certain set of commands. Does anybody remember what the most important of those commands was the first time? Something that helps us manage our Git repository. I know, hard question. So what we're going to do is when we initialize, we're actually going to install our Git hooks. And again, those are hooks to make your notebooks be trusted and are cleaned every time that you commit. And so those are called hooks because they kind of hooked into what GitHub is doing and then they activate on their own. So you don't have to do it. So we're just going to do that. We're going to do nbdev. What did I just say? Install Git hooks. I'll let that run for a second. Looks good. So it's saying, hey, looks like we've done some things. We've installed the hooks and now we've trusted the Git config. Okay, so now Git status, you know what it is. And let's see what's up. All right, so it doesn't look like we're doing anything more significant. I believe that those documents are in the Git ignored. So now Git doesn't actually see them. Okay. Now, so there are a few other things that we need to do. So we still need to clean the notebooks. We need to build the notebooks and we need to build a documentation. But since we'll need to do that anyways, whenever we start working on our own code, we can do that at that point. Okay, so we are going to actually start doing our work. So Preston is going to be looking at this function that was in, let's see, in the core solutions. Hold on, let me think about this right quick. Yeah, let's go to the core solutions. He is going to change the function append file ending, which is right down here, this function. He's going to change this one so that it appends .txt. I, on my branch, am going to change it so that it appends .csv. Then we're going to build this new module and commit these changes. So actually, we're going to do one more thing before that, just to make sure the docs build. But let's just implement this first. So Preston is putting a .txt here. I am putting a .csv here. Okay, so let's do .csv. Oh, no. All right, it looks like I've done that. So I'm going to save that so that it's changing the workspace. I'm also going to run this function. So here, I'm just going to click in here. I'm going to press Shift Enter. And here, I'm just going to see how this is working. This is my unit test that we talked about yesterday. And I'm going to click Shift Enter here. And it looks like this works correctly. So there are just a few more things that we have to do before, because we're using NBDev, and this is the solutions notebook, we need to make sure that we actually build the library, meaning that we need to tell NBDev exactly which which cells that we want to be in the library. So we're actually just going to double click this. This is the hashtag export statement. We're just going to take that out of Markdown. So I just highlighted that. I'm going to click Control X on Mac. That's going to be Command X. I'm going to click out. Then I'm going to click DD to delete that cell. I'm going to click here, Enter, Control V. So all of that, really, the point was really just to put pound export right here. Because again, we're using this export statement to tell NBDev that we want to export this to a specific module. So now I'm going to save that as well. I have a frenzied amount of saving because there's so much that has happened. Okay, so now let's see. So now we've told NBDev what modules we want to, or we've told it what cells we want to export. How do we tell it what is the name of the module that we want to export those cells to? Does anyone remember? Thoughts, feelings, considerations, memories. Here's a hint. It might also be hanging out in the Markdown in the same way. So it is this default X core. And can someone tell me again, what does that mean again? Default X core, what does that do? Y'all are pretty quiet today. I used to quiet ones. That's okay, I'll just tell you the answer. So this is just going to tell NBDev, hey, everything we want to export in this module, in this notebook, put it in this module named core. So that's what it's saying. So we're just going to grab this, again, Control X, DD this one, and just stick it here. So this is our signal to NBDev. All right, so it looks like we've made some changes. It looks like we did the things that we were supposed to do. So we changed the file ending. Now we need to build the new module and commit the changes and push that to GitHub. Okay, well, that sounds good. That's something we can do. So again, we save this, Control S, because NBDev is looking at the saved workspace. It really doesn't have a sense of this. So we can make sure we have our export to core. We have this that we want to be exported, and everything here is looking good. Okay, so now we need to do exactly what it says. We need to build our modules. We need to also build the docs because that's something that we said we had to do the first time. And we're also going to clean the notebook just so we can see the behavior there. So let's see. So I'm going to just start out by cleaning the notebooks. I just always like to do that. Again, that is a Git hook, but you do tend to need to run that the first time as well. So we're going to do nb dev clean nbs. Before we do that though, I'm just going to show you right quick. We've executed this cell and this cell. Let's see what happens when we run this clean nbs. Let's see, let's come here. It looks the same. What does that mean? It means we need to refresh. So we're just going to refresh that right quick. I forgot this takes a little bit on my computer when it's running Zoom, but that's all right. We're going to give it its good time. All right, great. So now we're back in the solutions and we can see that those have been removed. So again, metadata that we don't want, thrown out. Data that we do want, still in there. So that's really nice. Keep in mind that you can always remove the metadata. You can remove it through these default functionality. So if, for example, we have clear output, that'll remove those execution counts, but it will also remove all of the rest of the outputs. So you would have no tables. So all that big hard analysis that you decided to do, remove, the outputs are removed. And all those beautiful plots and visualizations you made up, the plot lathe, all those things you created, gone out of the notebook. You can't even see them. So this is why we like NVDev. It just removes the metadata and execution counts without actually removing the plots and the tables and all of those types of outputs from your files. Okay, so now we've done clean NBs. Coming back to the terminal, the next thing we want to do is build the lib. Let's do that. NVDev build lib. Again, we expect that we'll see an NVDev playground here. And again, that's because we took it from the template and those things are outlined in the settings. If we wanted to build this to have a different module name, we could change that in the settings. But we're going to build the library, and what we expect to see is an NVDev playground folder with our built modules inside. So let's run that one. Wonderful, that seems to have gone well. So here we see that that just populated. We have NVDev playground. We have the files that we expect. Let's take a look at core just to make sure it looks right. And here we go, it looks right. That's looking good. All right, wonderful. So I'm just gonna close that one back out. Let's see, let's talk about the last thing. We wanted to build the docs, right? So let's tell NVDev to do that using our command line functions like we're using now. So NVDev build docs. Let's see what it has to say. In the meantime, I'm just going to come back out here to this folder. So I'm back in my root. We're trying to make it, but we're running a little slow. We are running a little slow. So now we can see that it is converting the notebooks into documentation, which is very exciting. We said that again, documentation and tests are first-class citizens of NVDev. And here you can see the importance here. Let's see what else it has to say. So here's converting. Hopefully we'll make it soon. Ooh, it's not quick. Is anyone else's faster than mine?
No, mine is going the same speed.
Yes, it's not even, it's like not even trying.
Mine's a little bit behind yours, actually.
It's trying, it's trying. We're gonna blame Zoom for this. It's okay, we're gonna blame Zoom. Woo! Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh, it's saying a few things here. It's saying, some of your notebooks are using the same title. I mean, when you make documentation, what kind of sense does that make? To have the same title and pretty much the same exact thing twice, but there could be a chance that you might want that. So it just tells you. So that's really nice. Let's see what else we've got. Let's see. So we already did all the initialization things. Now we built the module, and now we need to commit these changes to the fix file in branch, or Preston will be doing it to the file in branch. So let's see how we do that. We're going to do a Git Status. Again, you guys know what's up with me. Don't remember. want to see what's going on. So when we're refreshing the index, so that means it's looking to see if anything new has changed. And it's saying, looks like you got a bunch of stuff that's changed. First of all, we have these changes not staged for commit. So you already had these core solutions and you already had these readmes, but it looks like you made some changes there. And it looks like you made all of these new documents here. So I don't know anything about those. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a command that should be used very, very sparsely and only used after you have examined all of the things here and are sure that these are all things that you want to add. The second thing that you want to examine is that you're on the correct branch. We can see that I'm on my correct branch, fix file end, and all these things are things that I would want. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add all those things. And so usually we add them by file name, but since there's so many file names here, there are directories here, I'm just going to use the period. Period means everything that's in this folder that's changed. So Git Add, I'm going to type the period. All right, and it's going to add it. Then I'm going to Git Status just to see how things are going. Okay, it says, looks like you have a lot of new changes that are to be committed. Here are some that have been modified. Here are some new files. So now that's just what I want to do. I'm going to commit them. So I'm going to do a git commit -m, and let's make sure we're on the right branch. Yes, updated append file ending to use CSVs. Okay, and then Preston's will be a little bit different because he's using text files. All right, and then we're both going to push our branch to GitHub. So we're going to do git push -u. U is something that means, hey, set the upstream and track it. Origin, and then the branch that we're trying to push. So often you type git push origin master if you're trying to push master. Master is a branch, also called main. Main is a branch. Also, fix file end is a branch. And so we're trying to push the changes to that specific branch. So that's what we're going to type, fix file end. While Preston is going to be typing git push -u origin file end. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Hopefully I remember to do all the things, but it's totally possible that I haven't. Okay, so now we're going to come up and we're going to make our pull request. So now we've fulfilled whatever issue we were assigned, and we're going to make our pull request. All right, so let's take a look at that. Oh, interesting. It says fix file end, so that's my branch, had recent pushes less than a minute ago. Great. So what we're going to do, we're going to compare and pull request. So this is going to create our pull request. So let's see. Oh, so it looks like if we wanted to merge this in, it would be easily able to merge. And I'm just going to use the commit message here. And then I'm just going to write a little note. This file creates a new core module. Core module implemented in 004. This module contains all of the information for the data reading. Currently implemented is changing, adding file endings to a string. Okay, so now we have that, and now I'm going to create this pull request. So now I've created the pull request. I am going to set Preston to be a reviewer. I'm just going to click request. I think in another meeting, we talked about draft pull requests and how they can be used if you're not quite ready for it to be formally reviewed, but you want people's feedback. You can just click convert to draft here. And you could have also not made it a full pull request to start off with. Then I'm also going to assign Preston. And this is curious. Curious. Some checks were not successful. What does that mean? Well, let's click details, because we're going to figure out what's wrong here. What is this? What is this? What is this? This looks like a bunch of like tests, right? So these look like kind of things that you do if you wanted to make sure you had the right environment to run the tests on your repository. But then these kind of look like the tests themselves. This looks like, can you read all the notebooks? That looks like a test. Are all the notebooks cleaned? Looks like they were. We got to check there. Is there a difference between the notebooks that we created versus the modules that we built from them? That looks good. And what's the problem then? Run tests. Can someone remind me, which cells in a notebook are the tests? With NBDev, which cells in the notebooks are tests? So we know that NBDev considers tests to be a first-class citizen of its platform. Which cells are tests?
I think it's all the ones that are not labeled no test. Was it?
Nice job. That is exactly correct. Everything that is a cell there that hasn't been labeled as not for testing is testing. So let's see where it fails. Looks like it's looking in some of these files, maybe 10 EDA. And it says the following notebooks failed, 00 core and 10 EDA. Why? Because it says I'm trying to run this test, but I don't know what Google is. You've never like put that in my environment. I have no idea what that is. And the same thing is going on right here. It doesn't know what in the world that you're talking about because this is running on its own little environment. Now, at this point, between you and the person that's going to review your pull request, y'all can decide how important this is. But it tends to be relatively important. Every once in a while, NBDev itself will break. And so you'll have these failing, even though there's nothing actually wrong. But generally, you tend to like things to pass all of those different requirements. So let's see. So I've made this pull request. One thing interesting to note is that with the way that this repository is set up, even if your checks are failing, you can still merge things into the repository so long as there are no merge conflicts. Okay, so that's interesting. So it looks like I can go ahead and merge that one in after Preston were to look at it. But now, Preston, let's see. Why don't you go ahead? Have you already made? I guess I could check. Let's see if Preston has already made his pull request. Yes, it looks like it. He has. And it looks like I'm assigned to do this one. So let's take a look at this. And I am going to go ahead and review Preston's pull request. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at it. Something that's really nice with Jupyter Notebooks that's provided through GitHub is a package called Review MB. So let's say, for instance, we want to inspect the changes to this document or a set of documents. We might want to look at the commits, and we might want to examine them. Also below, oh, maybe not there. I think it's over here. I think I'm not used to looking at this in this format. Yeah, maybe this. Here, this is really challenging to look at. This is the JSON. So this is really hard to inspect to just see if there were any differences. If you add Review MB onto your GitHub, you'll be able to view this as a Jupyter notebook. Anyways, that's just a side note. But while we're doing that, I'll go ahead and review Preston's changes, and I'm going to go ahead and approve. So these look really good. we will resolve the issue with the tests with the failing GitHub action tests and a future issue. Please create an issue about this, but otherwise we will merge this pull request and delete it. Great work. Okay, great work. Good. All right, and now I'm just going to approve that. And now that he has the approval, although the checks have failed, he can still merge in his pull request. So Preston, do you want to go ahead and do that? And then you can also delete that branch. So you can see that this updated on mine because Preston did this on his screen. And this will also delete the branch in just a moment and update once he's done that. Okay, so now let's take a look at this pull request. So this one was mine that I submitted.
My merge attempt failed. Let me see
So
what
my
happened.
checks have also failed, right? But there's something a little bit worse, right? And it's that this branch has conflicts that must be resolved. And it's issues in the Python notebook. And also because the modules are built from the Python notebook, then these would also be different, right? And so we could try to resolve conflicts. So I'm just going to click on this to give you an understanding of what this would look like. This is a little bit of an easier fix. However, I will say, even though it looks easy, it somehow is crazy, but you could do the smallest thing and somehow the JSON will break. So you might think that you can remove these things and it'll be fine, but somehow it's not, and it breaks, and then you really can't open it. So then we have these issues. And so you might think you could fix it here, but again, might be a little harder if there are more merge conflicts. We also have the difference here due to our built module. So we're not even going to try to do this. We're going to do something else. And so Preston might have looked at this. Preston, if you want to go ahead and add a review, maybe Preston says, hey, your code itself looks okay, but you need to resolve that merge conflict. And we are going to be using the original, or maybe what other kind of file ending is there? JSON. We're going to add JSON. So we're actually using the JSON. So please fix this to be JSON by when you resolve your merge conflict, and then please feel free to merge it in. So that's something Preston might say. So now, interesting. How do we fix this? How do we fix this issue? So if this was a substantial merge conflict, we might not want to fix it like this. We might want to use a package that has actual tools for fixing it. Oh, thank you, Preston, for that. Thank you. I will fix that merge conflict, and then I will go ahead and merge the branch. That sounds great. So now I'm going to go and try to fix this, but I'm not going to use the command line options or the web editor or whatever this is. I'm going to do this on my own computer, so locally. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my Jupyter Lab. If this was a different day, I would open my branch again. Oops, I think I need to hurry up. So now I'm on this branch, fix file in. That's the same exact one as my pull request, right? I'm going to type, hold on just a second. Sorry, we're at the, can I type clear here? Is that what somebody told me to do before? Yeah. So we're going to type Git Status. All right, things are looking good. But now the scenario is that I need to pretend that I'm GitHub. And I need to merge master into my branch and resolve the merge conflicts on my computer. Now, the merge conflict exists because main on my computer is now different than the one that we just updated after we merged in Preston's pull request. So how do we get the most updated version of master or main? Well, git checkout master, right? So now this switches us over to the master branch. And now that we're there, we can do a pull. So that's precisely what we're going to do. Git pull. All right, wonderful. So now it looks like we have updated master. These are actually all the changes that Preston has made and he pushed and we merged in. And so now I can go back into my branch and merge master in. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. What was the name of my branch? Okay, we're gonna find out. Git branch. It was called fix file end. So sorry, we're going to git checkout. There is no B right now. There's no dash B because we're not creating a brand new branch. We're just checking out one that exists. So we're checking out fix file end. Great. Great, right? So now I could do a pull here, but I'm not going to. It's because I know that this has not been updated. But what we're going to do now is we're going to merge master into this branch and see how that goes. We know there should be merge conflicts because GitHub told us there would be. Let's see how that goes. Git merge. So we're on our branch, fix file in, and we're merging master into it. Not the opposite way. Okay. Git merge master. Let's see how that goes. Oh my goodness, just what we thought, right? So it says, hey man, you got a merge conflict in this Python file. You have a merge conflict in this HTML file, which is actually quite unfortunate, but it's fine. It's going to merge that on its own. It's saying, hey, also I'm going to try to auto merge this solutions notebook that you and Preston both changed. Oh my gosh, it still has the merge conflict, but I can't merge it on my own. You need to fix it. Great, no problem. So let's see, let's try to fix this 00 core songs first. So we know what to do. We open up this notebook. Close that back. We open up, wait, before we do that, Git status. All right, it's saying, looks like you're struggling. So it says, okay, you have unmerged paths. Looks like you're in the merge conflict. And if you just want to not work on that anymore, you can do this to abort. Otherwise, you need to fix the conflicts and run git commit. These are the ones that you need to fix. Okay, so, okay, we're going to try to do that. So again, we're 00 core solutions. That's the one that we're going to try to fix first because we know that using build lib, build docs, we will be able to fix these other two, right? So let's go ahead and open this notebook. Oh, Lord. Oh, what is this? This is crazy talk. It's saying, I can't, this is not a valid JSON. Like, what is this? It's unreadable. So now you kind of have an understanding of why that one test in the GitHub Actions wanted to make sure all your notebooks are readable. Because if they're not readable, there's a good chance that they have a merge conflict in them and embedded in them. All right, so what do we do? Start. Hopefully I did the wrong thing this time. Git status. Oh. Git status. All right, seems like we're still modified. All right, so now what do we do? Sorry, I'm trying to get back to the top of the screen. So now we're going to actually use nvdev to help us out. So this again is broken. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fix the merge, right? That's exactly what we're going to type. nvdev fix merge. And we're going to tell it what needs fixing. 00 core songs.ipynb. All right, it says, I couldn't really fix that on my own. You need to look at that and fix it. So let's see what just happened here. So now there's a core songs again, but now this is this .back file. Wonder what that could be. Back, sounds like backup. Wonder why that would be. Well, let's take a look at core songs. All right, and we expected, oh, interesting, right? So we expected to have a merge conflict in this area, right? And now instead of being inside the JSON, nvdev has brought that up to the cell level, and we have a markdown here, and a full cell here. So now we can figure out what exactly it is that we need to do to fix this, okay? So we're gonna take one or the other. we also know this one didn't seem to be broken. That's curious, but that's okay. So let's see. What did we say that we were going to do? We're going to add JSON instead. Well, let's pick one of these. So master is this one. This one. So mine is this one. Master is this one. We're just going to stick with what master had. So the way that we're going to resolve this is we're going to take this one. Actually, we're going to take this one. What did we say? We're going to stick with master. We're going to take this one, delete it. Now we have the code that we actually want. We're going to delete this one, and then this, and then this. So now something interesting happens because now these two match, which is really good. Usually you do kind of want to run this all the way through so you can make sure that things are working correctly. So now let's save that one. So that's looking good. Now that this has been updated, we can go ahead and do our regular workflow with NBDev. So now we're going to get status. Looks like it's saying these things haven't been resolved yet. That's okay. That means it's just unmerged right now. We're going to do NBDev build lib. No, we're going to do clean NBs first, again, even though we don't have to. And we're going to do NBDev build lib. And we're going to wait the rest of our lives and build docs as well. NBDev build docs. We're going to give it a little second here because it's struggling. So I am going to push this back up to demonstrate to you that this is, or I'm going to have some more steps to do, but the next steps, in case we run out of time, are that I'm going to push this back up to show you that the merge conflict has been resolved. And then also I'm going to see if I have time to show you how to resolve that issue with the failing GitHub test, because that causes people a lot of consternation. We are almost there. We are making it. We are struggling, and we are hoping that we will make it. So now something interesting is with NBDev. Now that we have this notebook updated, everything else actually comes from the notebook. So in these two files, anything that's generated from my notebook, once I fixed it, I just let it regenerate, and then I commit those changes because those are the ones that we want. Those would be in line with what the notebook currently says. Okay, so we're going to get status, see what's up. We're going to finish the merge. All right, we're still in the merge. We're going to add everything. So this one, and this one. So period, again, now careful with period because it will mess you up. So Git Add. We're going to get status just to see what it says. It says, look, all your conflicts are fixed, but you're still merging. You need to commit to conclude the merge. So git commit -m merged with master to resolve conflicts. And we're going to now push our changes, git push origin fix file in. So let's come back up here. Now we can see we fixed our merge conflicts. Looks like somebody requested some changes. So what I can do is re-request a review. But I'm going to do something that you really should not do because it is really annoying to the reviewer. Because it's just very annoying, and you'll see why in a moment. But now we know that we can merge this, right? However, we kind of are pretty sure these checks will fail, right? Because they failed before and we didn't actually do anything to fix them. So let me show you how you can fix them. And remember that the problem before was that it was failing in the tests on 2 certain notebooks. Let's see which 2 those were. So those were the 00 core, this one. And actually now I'm just going to go ahead and make this just the whole size. And it was the 00 EDA. And we said, Mafe said, that every single one of these files is a test, every last one of them, unless we tell MBDev that these cells are not tests. So if we want to suppress testing in this notebook, we can just use the hashtag all no test, because our flag is called no test. And if we put all underscore before it, that tells MBDev to apply this to all the cells. We can do that for 10 EDA. And we can also do that for 00 core. So all no test. And this can work for strong analysis problems, but it might not be so great if you're actively trying to build a piece of software. All right, so let's see. I'm going to come back in my terminal. I'm going to Git status again. I'm going to mbdev clean nvs. I'm going to mbdev build lib. And I don't often build the docs because I don't often focus on the docs. So I'm just going to let them be for now. Git status. Sorry. I actually do that all the time. Like when I say that I do that during workshops, like it's not a joke. I do it all the time. We're going to refresh that index. We know that we modified these 2. We're going to add both of them, and I'm going to add them by name. This is how you should do it, unless you have just a bunch of things to add. 00 core. I just press tab. 10 EDA. I press tab to autocomplete. I'm going to commit that, and I'm on the correct branch. Updated workbook notebooks to pass GH actions. And I'm going to get push origin fix file int. And the reason that I said that you tend not to like to, after the reviewer has reviewed it, you don't like to just like add things that they don't really know about, because then now they have to kind of re-review the 2 changes that you just made. It's better that they can just look at the things that you've kind of already done and not have to learn about something new. That can take an additional amount of time for them. Often it's better to put in another pull request unless it's something very simple, at which point you might want to put that in a comment. At press up P. And I know that we're running out of time. I would like to make sure that those checks run, but they might not. I also added another commit with no flag, with flags, with test suppression flags to pass. And we can see that we fixed those issues. All of our tests have passed. Oh, thank you, Preston. He's approved my pull request. And now I'm going to merge it in. Confirm merge. And I'm going to delete my branch. And now Preston and I have worked together and collaborated and had a good life together of resolving merge conflicts instead of editing JSON. So thank you so much for coming to the workshop today. I know that we're out of time, but I think I will pretty much be working with most of you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I actually really love MBDev, and so I'm happy to talk about it further. All right. Well, again, let me know if you have any questions. I'm available on Slack and through email, and thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.